My scheduled programming for my videos is officially interrupted because I have put so much time into looking into this pandemic. I actually started, as I mentioned, on my creators community tab. Like, I started a TikTok just to post updates because I'm reading, like, trying to read like all of the publications that are coming out because this is a crazy pandemic. And especially if you're in the US, things are about to heat up. Things have been heating up in Italy. And so there's some things I just wanted to share, and I'm going to make this video about just those things. And at the end, I'm going to also let you know I'm going to be publishing everything I've already published on social media to my YouTube because I've published a bunch of stuff on Instagram. I've gone over some of the biggest study findings. I've gone over a lot of graphs that have come out. And this is an evolving process. And I'm also starting in the hospital on Monday, which means I'm taking care of patients who may have things like this. So it's important for me to stay up to date. And I think I just owe it to the patients at this point that, really make sure that I'm aware of the data, aware of what's going on. And so that was one of my biggest motivations. But the more and more I got into the research, the more and more scared I got. And in the process, I realized the way to combat this is through education. Like, we can't just go in and assume that this thing is going to eat us alive. What we need is education. And one of those things I'm really passionate about is making sure everyone is aware of what's going on. Because when you're aware of it, you understand the reasons we're taking the actions we're taking. And because of that, you don't get scared. You understand it's reasonable and we can do this. And so that was the main impetus behind a lot of my videos, a lot of my analysis. And to this day now, I'm just going to keep it going because I think the situation is literally evolving day to day rapidly. So I guess at this point, I just want to share a few things that I've really, found a lot of positivity in this outbreak. And the first one is just the fact that you start seeing the altruism in humanity a lot more. And I really feel grateful for that. And this may be more specific to the US, but I actually really love the altruism I've seen from the industry. What do I mean by that? Like T-Mobile, like a lot of these big companies, they know that this is a time of need. They know that this is a time of unrest. They know, and they themselves are struggling. But what blows my mind is a lot of these companies still go out of their way to make sure that they're accommodating to you. A lot of the electric companies are waiving bills. Comcast is providing free Wi-Fi. T-Mobile is letting you have LTE, until, I don't know, I have it till like the end of April. But the point is, a lot of these companies understand that this is a time when we need to come together and not separate out. And that's what blows my mind. That seems so crazy to me because even they're struggling. Like, they're not making any revenue at this point, but they know that some things are beyond just numbers. It's more by humanity. And I really respected that. Another thing that I've really appreciated during this time is just seeing everyone come together. So we have we have neighbors back in California, and we reached out to every one of our neighbors who was above the age of, 60, which is for whom this pandemic is the most dangerous. And we literally just said, we'll get groceries for you. But the reason we did that is because we saw everyone else doing it. And so it just makes me feel grateful that, we're coming together during a time like this. This is not a time that we need to be apart. This is a time that we need to be together. And I feel happy that, at least in my own way, I can contribute to that through, this community. A lot of things have changed, and this is one of those things that really, you look at life and you're like, wow, you would never think something like this would happen. I have friends who were taking USMLE Step 1 who literally have no idea when they're going to take it anymore. There's people who are taking the MCAT who can't take it anymore. There are people who are, not going to work. There's so many drastic changes in our life. And at these times, I think it's so important to reflect and you start seeing, wow, like, life matters. We get so caught up in our day-to-day that we don't realize like all of those things are insignificant in the face of life and death. And that's kind of the situation we're in right now. We have the potential of a lot of people dying. Actually, that's already kind of happening. And when that happens, everything needs to be put on hold. And you start realizing these things that you worry about on a day-to-day basis, as I said, are not nearly as significant as you would think. The only things that are open right now are hospitals. And even those, the healthcare workers are getting sick, right? And so you really do have to take these things into perspective with like this perspective. So yeah, those three things have really just made me feel really warm inside. because it really made me reflect. The first being, seeing the altruism of the community, the economic altruism from companies and institutions, and the fact that so many people are donating things. So the second thing is, as I mentioned, the humanitarian altruism, which is the fact that we're looking out for each other. We're one species, and when one person wants to survive, we all want to survive, and we have to kind of be on each other's best sides to do that. And you start seeing it come out during these times, which is fantastic. And the third thing is just that this has given me a chance to reflect and really realize, like, in the face of times like this, you realize what's important. So that's kind of what it is. At this point, I do want you to know the regular scheduled programming on my channel will stop, and it will primarily transition into COVID-19, at least for the next week or so, especially as I upload everything I've uploaded on all my other social media platforms. Because as I said, this is an issue that everyone needs to be talking about, because this is at the point where a lot of people can be harmed. And you'll see that in a lot of the videos I put out. Like, our data is not reassuring right now. The fact that New York is the new epicenter of this pandemic, at least in the US, is not reassuring right now. The fact that Italy right now, Italy's numbers are so scary. And the fact that we are mirroring Italy's numbers, that is very not reassuring. Okay, so all of these things are things that people need to be aware of, so that way you take these recommendations, the CDC, the WHO, all of those recommendations, you have to take them seriously. You have to be inside. You got to socially distance. You got to minimize all contact with other people. You can go outside to exercise, but again, be very cautious. So you have to make sure you know these things and take them seriously. And I feel like the only way to do that is by making sure people understand this is a big deal. And the only way to do that is to put a lot of good, informative, credible content out there, which is what I'm hoping I'm doing, especially because I'm reading, only scientific papers. So with that, I'm going to end this video here, but just know a bunch of COVID-19 stuff is going to come out from me over the next hour or two, but I feel like this is stuff we got to talk about, so we're going to talk about it. They're very short videos. They're very insightful, I hope, and I hope you enjoy them. Feel free to follow on TikTok, which is where I'm posting these videos. Feel free to follow on Instagram, which is also where I'm posting some of these videos. But yeah, let's go from here, guys. Let's do it. We're a squad. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. Do all the things, and I'll see you in the next video. Please stay safe. All right, bye.